On today's show, the undefeated LA Clippers have apparently paused talks on James Harden, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. And we're going to preview the Utah Jazz game coming up on Friday, as well as comment on me rewatching the game from the other night. Did I notice anything different from watching it on TV as opposed to being there? Going to be talking about all these amazing things on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri. Just began my 19th season as a Clipper fan. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper and LA sports and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers, free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, where I want you to let me know what you think of the James Harden trade talks being put on pause, as reported by Woj. Going to be talking about that, previewing the Utah game, and I'm going to be talking about if I noticed anything different, or what I noticed from watching the game on TV as opposed to being there. Because there's always two different lenses you see the game from when you're there. Some things you miss when you're on TV. And of course, when you're watching on TV, you don't always catch things that you can only catch in the arena. So before I do that, this episode is brought to you by Dave. Dave is the banking app that's leveling the financial playing field. Just go to dave.com/lockedonnba. You can get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. But let's talk about what Woj reported. And that was before the Knicks-Celtics game on Wednesday night. He said that from what he's being told, and when Woj is being told something and is willing to go on the air with it, usually that means it's true. He said that the Clippers and the Sixers have officially paused on James Harden trade talks. The Clippers weren't able to get the deal that they wanted. The Sixers weren't able to get the deal that they wanted. The Sixers wanted 2 first-rounders in Terrence Mann. Clippers were not willing to include 2 unprotected first-rounders, and were trying to apparently scheme and get another first-round pick with one of the pick swaps. Sixers didn't want that. They wanted 2 first-rounders and Terrence Mann. The Clippers did not want to part ways with Terrence Mann. So here we are at a stalemate. James Harden has come out and said over the summer that Daryl Morey is a liar. He'll never play for him again. Now he is, from what I'm being told, attending to his sick mother. We wish James Harden the best with that and his mother. But he's been away from the Sixers. Hasn't played in any preseason games or anything like that. Apparently he returned to practice earlier this week, but the team is holding him out of games. I mean, he is a disgruntled player, called the general manager or the president of basketball operations. I'm not sure exactly what Morey's title is, but we know he makes the basketball decisions. Called him a liar. So someone that's done all that, even though he was practicing with them in training camp, I don't know. That's a them thing. My point is the Clippers don't need to deal with all this drama, in my opinion. I actually think it's a great thing that this is happening. One, because I'm anti-Harden trade, but also because if the Clippers really need James Harden, now we will see in these first couple of games how much they lack what James Harden brings. And so far through one game, I would not touch it. I would not touch that trade. I wouldn't touch that conversation. I wouldn't touch James Harden. I would just see how it's goes. But it's only one game. One game is nothing, and look at the opposition that we played. No offense to any Portland Trailblazers fans listening, but they're probably going to be one of the worst teams in the West this year, and we should beat them, especially at home for our home opener. So James Harden, he's not going anywhere. No other teams seem to want to trade for the guy. So if the Clippers really need him, then they can make a move. And now we have the ability to watch them actually play and see if we lack shot creation. Watching the game on Wednesday night and seeing the pace that the Clippers played with, the way they were flying around defensively, you're seriously telling me that James Harden fits that James Harden would not change that. You'd be naive to tell me that he wouldn't change that. If you think we need to slow it down, fine. But you and I disagree. Speeding up with the personnel that we have now, Russ, Bones Highland, KJ Martin, Mason Plumlee, we have a team that can run a little bit more. We should take advantage of it. What we saw on Wednesday night was that Kawhi and Paul George aren't necessarily unwilling to run. When we play very good defense, which we're capable of playing, I didn't even mention Terrence Mann, who's coming back, but when we play good defense like we're capable of playing, we create turnovers, and Paul George and Kawhi sometimes are at the forefront of those, and then they get out and finish. So I think they're on board. All the beat writers were saying that throughout training camp in Hawaii, the Clippers were running a lot. It was largely focused on conditioning, and the Clippers were willing to run a young Portland Trailblazers team out that gym on Wednesday night. So bringing in James Harden, I just don't think it fits. Again, this going fast thing is all because of Russ. It's all because of Russ mainly. His presence on the team, he's always been a guy that's wanted to play more fast-paced, more up-tempo, great going downhill, amazing athlete. And right now, I'm enjoying it because there's never such a thing as too many easy baskets. And the Clippers, as good as their half-court offense has been in the 2-on-3 era and in the Ty Lue era, when Kawhi and Paul George have been on the court, of course, it never hurts to get easy baskets, and they haven't been able to get enough of those in the era. But coming up, going to be previewing the game against the Utah Jazz on Friday night. I got to tell you a little something about Dave. Dave would have been so useful when I got hit with an expensive parking ticket, and we've all gotten hit with those, or an unexpected vet bill, and especially for that car service light that's been on for months. I've got like 3 in my car, but some of them are false alarms. Thankfully, Dave is here to help with extra cash. Dave is the banking app that's leveling the financial playing field. When you download Dave, you can get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. It's part of Dave's extra cash account. Advance the money you need with no interest and then settle up later. Extra cash gives you more money to buy groceries, fill your tank, finally get your car repaired, or catch up on bills without having to wait for your next paycheck. Download Dave today at dave.com/lockedonnba. That's dave.com/lockedonnba. You get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. Download the Dave app now or go to dave.com/lockedonnba. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Eligibility criteria and instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve. Member FDIC. I got to tell you a little something about the Jace case. The Jace case is the go-to when you're in a tough situation. Maybe you are traveling, maybe you're camping, and someone's gotten sick. Someone needs an antibiotic, and Jace Medical gives you 5 life-changing antibiotics, and you can even customize them to get the specific ones that suit you. Jace Case now offers customizability for your Jace Case with dozens of add-on medications. You can choose the best one for you and your family's needs. I got the Jace Case right here, the original 5 medication guy. I think they'll come in handy one day because you know what? When you've got ciprofloxacin, HCl 500 milligrams of it, then you know you're prepared for any situation. Buy a gift card for family or your loved ones so you can get a Jace Case of their own. Go to jacemedical.com and enter code LOCKEDON at checkout for a $20 discount on your order. That's promo code LOCKEDON at jasemedical.com. All right. So let's talk about the Utah Jazz, a very young team in a rebuilding process. Their starting lineup. Let's check what it was against the Sacramento Kings. I didn't get to watch any of these other games since I was at the game, and that's not one of the games I would want to watch necessarily anyway. But I'm guessing it was Colin Sexton, Taylor Horton Tucker, John Collins, Lauri Markkanen, and Walker Kessler. We've played the Jazz twice in preseason, winning one and losing one, but you can't take anything from those games because you're not even playing your A team in the fourth quarter. But the Utah Jazz lost to the Sacramento Kings 130-114 at home, which encourages me because if they lost by 16 points at home to Sacramento, and I consider us on Sacramento's level, I think they should lose to the Clippers. But are the Jazz going to lose 2 home games in a row? Utah is a tough place to play. But the Jazz started with Jordan Clarkson actually started, not Colin Sexton, who came off the bench in 20 minutes. So Jordan Clarkson, Taylor Horton Tucker. At the end of the day, this is a team the Clippers should beat. We're just a better team. I don't think Terrence Mann's going to play. Actually, no, it's already been announced that Terrence isn't going to play, which is fine. I don't think that we need Terrence Mann to beat the Jazz. Now, in terms of assignments guarding, of course, the Clippers are going to switch 1 through 4. I think the Utah Jazz will try to switch 1 through 4 as well. But John Collins guarding Westbrook, we'll see how that works out for him. John Collins getting switched out on Paul George, I would like to see how that works out for him. But on our side defensively, I think we go with, obviously, Zubats against Walker Kessler. Who goes for Markkanen? I'm thinking Robert Covington or Kawhi. I'm probably going to go with Kawhi. Actually, let's go with Rocco. Then we get Kawhi on John Collins, can roam a little bit. Paul George is probably going to have to guard Jordan Clarkson. And then on Taylor Horton Tucker, it will be Russell Westbrook. So Paul George on Jordan Clarkson, it's going to be a task. And when I say that, I'm not saying Paul George can't guard Jordan Clarkson. It's just that having him guard somebody who's going to be involved in tons of pick and rolls, going to try to be uber aggressive when he's also our second best scorer, it's just not ideal. And that's why Terrence Mann is so important to this team. Because you don't want a guy like like Robert Covington guarding someone like Jordan Clarkson. He's just too shifty, too quick. But there are going to be moments in the game on Friday where they'll probably have Jordan Clarkson put Robert Covington in the pick and roll in hopes that they can get the switch and see if they can guard. I think personally the Clippers are more equipped than the Jazz. I will say on their side, I think they go with Lauri Markkanen guarding Paul George. He's done a really solid job on him in the past couple of years. I was at one of the games when he was on Cleveland where he was getting away with hand-checking the whole game, but he was doing a good job guarding Paul George. He was keeping him in front when he was using the hand check, of course. And then John Collins, I have a feeling he's going to be matched up with Robert Covington. But that leaves Kawhi Leonard, who, they're going to have to make a decision on that. Let me rephrase that. John Collins will most likely be guarding Kawhi Leonard. If Lauri Markkanen is guarding Paul George like I think, John Collins will be guarding Kawhi. Jordan Clarkson and THT. Probably THT on Robert Covington. Jordan Clarkson will be guarding Westbrook. Hopefully we can attack that. I can imagine Westbrook trying to put Jordan Clarkson in the post. We'll see. As far as the Jazz, I don't think that's a very fast team. Lauri Markkanen is on the younger side. Kessler's on the younger side. Collins is athletic. Clarkson, he's in his prime. THT is a young player. But especially with their lack of depth to me, Keontae George, Chris Dunn, Colin Sexton, Kelly Olynyk, Agbaji being their main players off the bench. And given that Sacramento beat them by 16 and they're a very fast-paced team, I think the Clippers should try to do exactly what they did against Portland. Hard defense. This offense is not going to be that great in my opinion, Utah. We get stops. The thing is they can get streaky shooting the ball in Utah. But we get stops, we force turnovers, and we run them out of there just like Sacramento did. It starts with defense. I think John Collins guarding Kawhi Leonard, they're going to be in real trouble. Real trouble. And we'll see if they concede the switch with Taylor Horton Tucker and Jordan Clarkson. They might just. And if they do, barbecue chicken time. We're much more equipped to guard 1 through 4. I would like to see Lauri Markkanen post up Westbrook because Westbrook takes those things very personally. Paul George, Kawhi, Rocco, they have the strength, in my opinion, to guard Lauri Markkanen. It's just about can they stay in front. I'll take my chances with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Robert Covington, we shall see. Now, Walker Kessler, he's a great rim protector. Good thing we have some mid-range assassins. Hopefully we can shoot the 3 ball the same way that we did at home. It's going to be tough in Utah. I don't expect us to shoot the 3 ball the same way. But I'll tell you what. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George hopefully will have a good game shooting the ball, especially in the mid-range. We're going to need to counter them. 3 ball wouldn't be bad as well, of course. But Walker Kessler is a very good rim protector. I'm hoping that Zubac can outplay Walker Kessler just like he outplayed DeAndre Ayton and go 2-0 in terms of outplaying his opposing number, because it feels like a lot of times when Ivica Zubac outplays the opposing team's center, the Clippers do win the game. So Big Zoo, I think one of the absolute keys to winning the championship this season for the Clippers, if they're really serious about it, which, judging by their first game, I believe they are. And the Utah Jazz are their next opponents on Friday night. Going to be an exciting game. But coming up, going to be talking about what I saw from rewatching the game, or really should I say watching the game for the first time on TV after going to it on Wednesday night. Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best daily fantasy entry app around. The most fun I've had, winning up to 25 times my money this NFL season. But now that it's NBA season, my knowledge of those picks goes up even more, because basketball, you already know, is my thing. Prize Picks is really simple to play. You can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. They're quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types. That's what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. And Prize Picks offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks offers discounts, or Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value. Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, so to close out, let's talk about the game. What different things I noticed. First of all, atmosphere sounded pretty good on TV, and you could hear 207 loud and clear. All the acapella, defense, and let's go Clippers that you hear, that's all 207. And the faint defense chants when people aren't chanting it, which always is a thing at Clipper games, sadly, those are all 207 as well. Even when we were up by 30. We were still going. So shout out to everybody in 207 and the people that are still chanting defense, even if they're not in 207 around the arena when we're up 30 and throughout the game and being enthusiastic. But in the rewatch, I noticed not much different, to be honest. I keep thinking when I'm going home, I'm like, oh, I have a couple of drinks at the game. When I watch on TV, I'm going to notice some things that I just didn't notice being there live. But in the preseason games, and so far in opening night, going home and watching the game on TV, I didn't notice much difference. I remembered one thing that I didn't mention in the episode, and that was that at times, very few times in the first half, the Clippers started out possessions in a zone. It's like a matchup zone. Eventually, they'd man up in the possession. And I'm still confused at this from a basketball philosophy standpoint of putting Ivica Zubac on the wing down low in a zone instead of in the middle, because traditionally your centers are the guys you put in the middle of your zone. I'm not sure why, if it's a Zubac, Ty Lue likes playing him down low, but on the wing or in the corner, however you want to call it. 2 up top, 3 down low is how we call it in coaching terms, but you know what I'm saying. Not as the middleman down low. I would love to see if somebody has a basketball explanation to that. Please educate me, because again, I'm always trying to know more of the X's and O's. Even though I think I'm better than most that would be doing a podcast online, but still always so much room to grow. I know nothing compared to an NBA coach or a college coach, so, give me what you got with that one. But I think it's very interesting that Zoo sometimes gets put there instead of in the middle. Other than that, I saw everything I saw at the game. Paul George was cooking in the mid-post. Love when he gets the ball at the elbow. Bones Highland was really good, giving us a lot of juice. Norman Powell's defense, pretty solid. Kawhi Leonard, really shooting the three ball with confidence. I got to see all the threes and really focus on the fact that he hadn't missed. Shooting the ball with real confidence, with some lift. So much more compared to last season. You gotta love that. And then Nicholas Batum, I forgot to mention one of the things that I liked from him. There was one possession when he first checked into the game where he literally switched on to two different guys and guarded them the whole possession and got a stop. It's the classic Nico Batum way right there. But yes, didn't notice too much of a difference. The Clippers going into Utah on Friday, a team that I really just don't care for, given our playoff history with them. It really should be a win. Let's be real. It really should be a win. And I'm really excited that the Harden cloud has been removed from the team right now. We need to focus on getting our rhythm, our continuity with this team, because I believe that this team is a top 2 team in the West when healthy. Yes, I said it. When healthy, top 2 in the West behind Denver. We just got to prove it. And we just need some good luck. And we got Paul George and Kawhi ready to go on Friday against Utah, and I couldn't be more ecstatic. And you know what? I got to say, just being at the game, given their injury history and how often we haven't seen them on the floor as Clippers, when you go to a game and get to see Paul George and Kawhi play as Clippers, as a Clipper fan, it's just, I still don't take it for granted. These guys were all-stars before they even set foot in the Clipper organization, and there are not many people in Clipper history you can say that about. Dominique Wilkins, it's Chris Paul. The list isn't that long. Marcus Johnson. Kawhi and Paul George. I do thoroughly enjoy it when I get to see them in person. And Paul George, he is such an aesthetically pleasing watch at the games as well. Just his size, the smoothness in which he does things. It really gets pretty when he's confident and he's got it going. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper and LA sports content and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Let me know what you think of the Clippers pausing the Harden talks, maybe even your preview of the game against Utah. And yeah, how you guys feeling? How you feeling after that blowout opener? The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.